Hi, I'm Steph Zahalka, and my company is Jungle Branding Co. I am a brand strategist, consultant, and designer. And in this episode, we are going to be talking about what a brand actually is and why it's not your logo. And that's the worst place to start.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Online Prosperity Show. I'm your host, Prosper Taruvinga, and today I'm beyond excited because we've got a guest who's about to bring a storm of inspiration, wisdom, and a touch of sass to our screens. Get ready to meet the one and only Steph. Now, Steph, how are you doing today?
I am fabulous. It's a bright, sunny Monday morning.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Well, you see, I'm in Melbourne. I usually don't talk about the weather because by the time I finish this sentence, we probably have a different, weather report. So I'll keep it. I would leave that to you. But for those that are meeting Steph for the very first time, prepare to be amazed because Steph is not just your ordinary entrepreneur. She's a force of nature. She's a mom, a wife, and the brains behind Jungle Branding Co. And you can see she lives up to her brand. She's actually in a jungle right now, but the jungle is manufactured because I think that's her beautiful office there. Now she's on a mission to transform impact-driven entrepreneurs into industry leaders. And Steph's journey is nothing short of extraordinary. So I want you to buckle up because this actually promises to be one of the most epic episodes we've had in a while. Now, Steph, let's dive straight in. I know you're very, very anxious to know what it is we're going to be talking about. But now, why don't you start by sharing with our viewers what actually drove you to start, your branding career and your incredible mission that you're working on right now?
Well, I suppose it started with the fact that I was born an artist, my mom said. So anything, I was in university trying in San Diego, deciding, okay, what can I do that has to do with my natural artistic talent? I was going to be a surgeon. I was really into anatomy. I was like straight A student, but then I was like, I don't really want to spend half my life in medical school. So I switched my major to graphic design. And from there, I just really blossomed into the whole artistic thing, starting as an artist and then getting to do it on a computer. And then it was in San Diego that I met my now husband, and we started promoting nightclubs because he was a DJ. I was like, well, this will be fun because I love throwing events. I have multi-talented here. So many things to do, so many ideas. And what I did is I started designing all the graphics for all of the nightclub, like our nightclub events, and I was doing flyers. And this is so long ago. I'm older than I look. And we had to do that guerrilla marketing thing where you go out at night while people are in the nightclubs and you stick flyers under the windshield wipers. So I was one of the people that put the flyer on your car if you existed in such time. And all of the clubs and restaurants and bars in the Gaslamp Quarter and Pacific Beach and stuff started seeing my flyers and then hired me to do theirs. So I was working on menus, flyers, ads in magazines, because this is well before social media. And that's how my graphic design business was born, the first one, Global Journeys Graphics. And then we moved to Australia, and I was a freelancer because of the immigration laws. I couldn't work here yet until I became a permanent resident. So I still had all my clients in San Diego doing graphics. And then when I went through immigration here, I decided to start my own business. I did work for one company and I realized, you know what, I can do this on my own. I've always had my own businesses. I'm just a natural born boss, I guess. So I created my own company here and I did websites, logos, graphics, printing, that whole thing for many years. I networked because on the Gold Coast, this is again before social media. So networking was my game and I'm super social. So it was perfect for me. Got all my business that way. And I was doing really, really well. And then I ended up, because I had this chronic disease, um, and I got really sick and I was in and out, ended up in hospital, and I was a code blue. I almost died. So 3 weeks in hospital, uh, recovering. And then afterward, I couldn't exactly go back to networking right away. And since networking was the only way that I got clients, I was like, okay, I really need to just figure out how to do marketing properly, more than putting all my eggs in one basket. So I learned all about ads and SEO and funnels, and I became a funnel builder and a funnel designer. And I was doing SEO for the websites I was building and all these things. And I was like, all right, hold on a second. This is way too much. I'm spread too thin. All of these things are their own, what do you call it? Like it's their own careers in and of themselves. So I'd be doing a disservice if I'm doing like surface level stuff for clients. So I got rid of everything. And then it was just the graphics, websites, and printing and logos. And I realized that it's not beneficial for someone starting a business. Like we're all taught the first thing you do when you get a business, I need a logo, I need a business card, I need a website. Okay, well, what next? What comes after that? How do I get clients? Now what? Where are they? Don't they, you build it and they come. So I really wanted to focus down on, okay, how can I actually help people take these things and grow a business and have it drive their business and guide them and direct them. And that's when I fell in love with branding. And I really dove into it. I learned everything I could. I went Master Brand Institute, I courses, programs I've studied, and I am absolutely in love with the idea of building a brand. And I do spend a lot of my time educating people that it's not your logo. That's the first thing people think of. Where are you going to rebrand? Are you working on your branding? Branding is a logo, or your colors and fonts. It's not. That is pretty much what the puzzle looks like, but it's not the puzzle. It doesn't tell you what the pieces are and where they go. So I wanted to really dive into and hone in on this idea of what a brand actually is. And that's how I came to be a brand specialist. And I have been in the branding space for solely, exclusively focusing only on branding for probably at least 8 years now, maybe more. I lose track the older I get.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for sharing that journey. I mean, obviously, from where you started to where you are right now, that's a remarkable transformation. But you did mention that your path would have been completely different. You would have been holding a scalpel, but now you're holding an Apple pen. Now, did that sort of direction get sort of did that direct that sort of direction get support from maybe your parents or something like that, because they would have wanted that their daughter is a surgeon?
My parents just wanted to make sure that I was happy and I went to school and became successful, really, no matter what it was. They weren't happy I moved to Australia, though.
Absolutely, because you're actually far away, from them. And I would suppose that anybody else outside of Australia thinks everything in Australia is designed to kill you, and the water turns anti-clockwise. So I can understand the fears there. Now, obviously, while you were, trying to find your feet, you created your own niche, which is basically graphic design for the businesses that you were working with. Right now, tell us what that experience was like for you. Was it easy to get the gigs, or you actually had to sort of bulldoze your way in at that time?
Well, to start with, it all kind of just fell in my lap. When people saw my work, they reached out to me. It could be the natural born artist in me. My designs are so unique and different and clean and just high end. I just love intelligent design and strategic design and very gorgeous, attractive design as well. So I think it kind of spoke for itself. But I did realize that, you know, when you do have your own business, how do you get clients? So it was networking for me. I joined BNI. I was a member for 8 years, and being, you know, it's one category per chapter. So I got all the work from everybody and a lot of referrals. So that's pretty much how the graphics and website thing got started and really blew up.
Fantastic. And when you guys moved to Australia, what was life like? Because as somebody who's also moved, it hasn't, you know, it wasn't easy at start. You know, you got to relearn a few things, driving on the wrong side of the road, and you know, just trying to figure out your way around. What was it like assimilating for you?
Well, first, I do want to say that the rear view mirror has zero meaning when you first get there, because it's on the other side. You're like that. My brain does not translate. That means nothing to me. What am I looking at? Stick shift with the opposite hand was a bit weird as well. And of course, the windshield wipers instead of a blinker. That's pretty common. But as far as the work goes, we moved to Perth first, and we were in Scarborough Beach. And it's really weird because back in 2003, when I moved here, coming from San Diego, where everything is right there, everything's on 24 hours and really bustling. Perth was a sleepy town and nothing open past 5, nothing open on the weekends. I was like, Keith, where did you bring me? Where are we right now? Like, is this a country town? I don't know if I like this. So when I finally was able, going through immigration, to get a job, to look for work, it's funny, it's very ethnocentric down over there, where I was in the position to be a senior designer at all these companies and all these businesses. And because I had San Diego and the US on my resume, I didn't get any calls back. So I was like, what is going on? So one of our neighbors was, she was in HR and recruitment for a company. And we were just chatting to her, just outside and hanging out one day. And she's like, just remove San Diego from everything and just resend it out. I got like 7 callbacks. So I thought that was really interesting to get used to. I was like, okay, so Australians don't like people from outside Australia. But I found once we moved to the Gold Coast that that's not true. I think the East Coast is a bit more open-minded to global people as opposed to Perth. So it was when we moved here that I started my own business. And then pretty much within a year, I turned it into a company.
Absolutely. Well, you can imagine with last names and first names like mine, it's just a red flag in and of itself, you know, when it comes to work. And hence we're here now, you know, trying to create it for our own. So congratulations for doing that. And especially a move for so many people, you know, it's very difficult for them to make such a big change in their life, you know, predicated on the fact that it's going out of their comfort zone and things of that nature. Now, you've gone on and created an epic business, all right? And you've aptly named one of your methods the Epic Presence Method. And, you know, it's been making waves in the business world. Can you just maybe walk us through how this sort of methodology came to be and what actually sets it apart in the crowd?
No problem. It's my favorite thing to talk about. I've had this company for 18 years now. So it wasn't until about 3, 4 years ago that I worked with a business strategist and realized that I had this amazing IP that I had been doing for my clients. And I've never really put it into a process or a framework that I could actually name and trademark. So going through that process was actually extremely difficult. And it took a while to actually pull all of this out of my head and to put it into something that's an actual framework. So when I sell branding, I'm not selling something different to everybody. It's a framework. And this framework has been honed and perfected from working with clients and what works and what doesn't, and refining it and perfecting it. And the Epic Presence method, it stands for energetic resonance, positioning, identity, and connection. And those are the 4 pillars of my brand process that I use with every client. And the results speak for themselves. It's the gaps that I feel is that most brand people focus on the visuals. And the visuals are the very last pillar because I need to know everything from the other pillars to direct that design. It's not designing something based on trends. It's not designing something because it looks pretty or it's your favorite color or what everybody else is doing right now. That kind of stuff without knowing the identity piece from the pillar before leads to rebrands every 3 to 6 months. And that's why branding seems to be expensive for people. It's because they're paying multiple times, a few times a year to get it right and nothing actually aligns. So my process starts with that whole, who are you? What is your purpose? What is your why? Because your why is what drives everything. If you're not tapped into why you are doing something, this is what leads to people becoming a jack of all trades or coming up with a million coaching programs and endlessly launching. We go deep into who you are when you do what you do. And from there, we build, what is the mission? Who are you here to serve? Why do you exist? What's the objective? And then we strategically go into the vision because we have to have that roadmap, that direction that leads to something. So we get into that vision and the rest of the brand falls into that. So you have this guide, this focus, this North Star in your business when you want to make decisions on what you want to sell, what kind of your offers, what services, who you want to work with. So we've got, and then your core values, which repel and attract people. And it's not just a list of values because you're picking words off a list. Like most branding people, you have a mission statement, a vision statement, and values. But if they don't mean anything, they're just statements on a website that have no energetic resonance behind it. Like think of Nike. There's an energetic resonance there. Like you see the swoosh, you see an ad, you feel that high performance, that drive, that don't give up. That's energy. That's a vibe. It's the reason people buy something and say, I can't explain why I chose you. I feel it. I resonate with it. So that's the first piece of the brands that I build. And from there, we go into the positioning. Where do you want to sit in the marketplace? Who's the audience that fits in that slot? Because there's an audience below it and an audience above it. And they need to be on the right spot of their journey to fit into your position. And you need to be able to communicate and articulate that to the right people, or no one's going to hear you. So that's the positioning piece for the P in Epic. Then we go into identity. And I've got this really fun, abstract way of questioning. It's psychology based, where we figure out who the characters, it's character curation is what I call the process of this pillar. And this like creating an actor in a movie. It's got an identity, a personality, a vibe, a style. It's got a voice, a way of messaging, a language style. So this comes out in how you write content, how you do your marketing, your unique voice, how it stands you out from everybody else. All of these pieces fit in a specific order to then, once I've got this identity and this position, like you got to look a certain way if you're at a certain position in the market. You've got this vision. What's it got to look like? So then the design, I intuitively do this as well, but all of that stuff directs the design. So when I then go and create this mood and vibe and these colors for a brand, and then design all the pieces and all the assets and this whole visual system, it all fits together. And I will do a little humble brag here. I am pretty much at a 99% success rate, and I only ever give one option in my presentation. And I give you the logo, a few alternates, and you get everything. You don't have to choose. And I tell you exactly what every little dot, piece, swish, typography, everything has a meaning and a strategy behind it. And it's, I don't know how it happens. It comes out of me. I just have this gift. And I have never had to do a revision. Once I had to change a font from black to navy blue, and that was it. Everything else has just been so aligned, and none of these people have rebranded since, and I'm going years back. And one of the things that stands out with this is that it just becomes this whole identity that they're obsessed with and they're confident about, and confidence speaks louder than words, right? Like, people want a piece of that. If you are confident and you've got this brand, this direction, this guide that just fits and directs your team, you don't have to micromanage. You don't have to go through a bunch of revisions with your copywriters or web designers or ad managers or social media managers. They have everything they need to look and sound on brand, so everything is cohesive at every touch point. We are guiding the perception that the audience has of you. Otherwise, they will make their own assumptions and judgments. We don't want to do that. We want them to assume and judge what we want them to. So that's the whole thing with the brand.
Absolutely. Yeah,
And let me take a breath now, because I didn't stop talking that entire time.
No, well, that was epic, and then you really showed us the difference that you are bringing to the marketplace. So it's not just about logos and hex codes, right? Because so many people, like you say, are always going in, oh, I don't like this purple, I don't like this pink. That's just the surface that a lot of people are just scrapping, so to speak.
That's what leads to rebrands every 3 months, because, like, following the trends is because they don't know their own identity or all the pieces to have this aligned meaning behind why it looks that way.
That's pretty cool. So part of the thing that you work with people is obviously that positioning, getting people to find where they actually stand in the marketplace and who they help and how that sort of culminates together. So who are these trailblazers that you primarily work with, and how are you really tailoring your strategies to meet their unique needs? Because if you're going to be working with somebody's brand, that's very, very sort of unique to them. So what sort of people do you like working with mainly, and how do you start working with them?
It's hard for me sometimes when people say, what niche are you in, or what type of industry? Because I have clients who are lawyers, architects, landscapers, coaches, health practitioners, surgeons, every consultants, artists. It's all across the board. I guess it would be service-based businesses. And I've been doing this for so long, and I've been through the ranks of doing stuff for brand new businesses, doing stuff for people who are like, need that first brand. And I actually am more useful, beneficial, and they get better results when I work with businesses who've been around for at least 2 to 3 years minimum, because
Right.
they have an idea of who they like to work with and who they don't. They've tried selling stuff. They know what sells. They know what services they like. They know what they don't like. You've been through the years of where you're starting to, okay, I don't want to do this. I want to do this. I'm really good at this one, and these are the people I like. So when you have this proven method and you are making sales and you are making enough to where you're like, okay, now I want that credibility, that authority. I need that legit brand to back me up. So when people stalk me or want to hire me and search for me everywhere, everything is cohesive. I'm actually practicing what I preach. I am who I say I am, and it looks professional. So I am mostly work with people who are ready to really step it up. They've been selling at this price point, working with these people, and they want to upgrade. They want to elevate the position. They want to raise their prices. They want a different client profile. So that's what I specialize in, is working with people who want to basically level up across the board.
Fantastic.
And have that whole brand to back it up.
I like that. So it's specifically a certain mindset, all right? So these people have, they've gone through the whole starting up phase. Now they sort of know where they want to go, and they really want to set that foundation, in order for them to be, do, and have, a business that is backed by the brand, as you say. Now, for those that are eager to sort of connect with you, what is the best sort of way that people can get in touch with you and start their branding journey?
Well, Of course, I have a website. Everybody does, don't they? It's been around for about 20 years. My website is jungledesignstudios.com. Otherwise, I am all over Facebook. Facebook is my go-to platform, and I have my just normal professional profile where I show up, share my message, and give tips, tricks, and all the good stuff. Also, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm still learning a bit of LinkedIn. I'm trying to move over there, tap into that a little bit. But that's basically where you'll find me.
Absolutely. LinkedIn is where I think I've seen some of your work, and I was like, hey, we need some of this on the show. I will definitely put all those links in the show notes so that people can actually get a hold of you. Now, there's something that so many people, especially like you say, when they are now going to elevate and go to the next level or the next sort of tech bracket, they now presents in the marketplace the conundrum of should I build a personal brand or should I build a business brand? What's your sort of take when it comes to that sort of crossroads where people get to, especially when they start reaching those levels that you want to work with them?
Well, that's one of those questions that kind of comes out in our strategy sessions that I have. Because I do extract all this stuff from you, and that's part of the vision. I do have a specific service for personal brands who, like Scott Oldford, who was the face of the brand, and it was all him. He was everywhere. And then you have a team, and your team gets bigger, and you're branching out, and you want to have all these other things under your umbrella. And that's when we transform it into a company brand. You're still a personal brand involved. He's still there, but it's not him that has to be on all the time, right? So it just depends on your vision and your goals and what you see yourself being in 5 to 10 years, because I don't brand who you are now. I brand the future vision of you. So you have something to step into, because if I brand who you are now, that's past news. We always want to keep growing. We always want to, you may not want to scale, but in that sense that we're elevating and evolving, right? So that's what I look for. So it just depends on the strategy. There's still always a place for personal brands, because the more global we are with AI coming out, it's pretty much, it's not B2B, B2C, it's H to H. It's human to human. We want to know who's behind it, who the values belong to. So there always will be an element of personal brand there, unless it's a company and a corporation where you've got a C-suite CEO, and that's not really part of the strategy. And even then, we still to this day have CEOs starting to create their own personal brands within a company. So it really depends. It's individual. It's custom tailored to what your needs are. But I hope that explained it a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like you said, this is, personal to wherever the person wants to go. Some people might work towards just building a business brand. Like you gave an example of Nike, how you feel energetically around the whole brand. You're not sort of, attaching it to the one person. And then you also gave an example of Scott Alford, who is now creating, remarkable businesses out there. But yeah, like you said, there's a whole difference based on where somebody is going. Now, as you maybe evolve and grow, what direction are you taking? Are you going to be branding your business, or are you going to be branding your own personal brand? Because I quite like Jungle, but I also quite like Steph as a person.
I'm both. I will always have the Jungle Branding Co. because at some point I will probably maybe want to sell this. And it does have a team of developers, and I do have people who do some of the extra graphics. I build the brands myself. I will always want to do that. I used to have a bigger team. And then when I really niched into branding and realized that, you know what, I really like having a bespoke agency where when someone comes in with my high level rebrands, they get me. They get me on the call, they get me working on this stuff, and they get me designing it because that's just my gift and what I love. So I'll always be Steph Zahalka, but my company is Jungle Branding Co. So it is both, but I haven't actually branded myself yet. I just use my name.
Oh, fantastic. I quite like that. Now, finally, before we wrap up this episode, what sort of parting words of wisdom do you have for our viewers or somebody who's watching right now, especially those who are on the cusp of their entrepreneurial journey, given how you have built yourself up and you continuously working towards, branding yourself moving forward?
I would say, first, one of my favorite quotes that I love saying is that there is no such thing as failure. It's just data collecting. So I've had this company for 18 years. So there's always going to be stuff that doesn't work. That's okay. Data collect what you need, tweak it, and do something better. Resilience and tenacity are some of the top stats that you need, I guess, personality traits. The gamer coming out of me when I said that, to get through this thing, because it's a roller coaster. It's not always high income months. It goes up and down. You got to try new marketing things. The market's always changing. So if you need help, don't try to do everything alone. That's a big one that I had to learn. And I think it's really easy with social media to compare, get in that comparison mode. What's everyone else doing? I need to do better. You're only in competition with yourself. And did you do better than you did yesterday? Just keep going, evolving, and growing. That's all I can say. One foot in front of the other.
I like that. And there you have it, folks. What an epic episode, courtesy of the incredible Steph there. But hey, the journey doesn't actually end there. If you want to relive the magic or catch up on any nuggets of wisdom that you might have missed, be sure to actually rewatch this episode and maybe hit that subscribe button, because insights like what we just learned from Steph are priceless. And while you're at it, I will put all the links that she mentioned in the show notes so that you can, get started on your branding journey with Steph. Now, Steph, thank you once again for, coming on the show and sharing with us your journey, that is seemingly epic as you are presenting to the world right now.
Thank you so much for having me. I do want to mention one thing. I do want to say, do not ignore your brand. A lot of people put it off and think it's a later thing. It's not a priority. It's the core of your business. It drives everything and makes it easier for you, your team, and everybody who works with you. So,
fantastic. It gives people a unifying point, that brings even your team, your stakeholders and everybody else that wants to buy from you. Like you say, with the Nike emblem and brand, it really energizes people to want more, be more, and have more. So if you could do that with your own brand, that would be amazing. And there you have it. All the links will be in the show notes below. Until next time, keep thriving, keep prospering, and keep shining your unique light into the world. Your brand deserves it. This is Prosper and Steph. We're signing off. Bye for now.